If you're a real estate agent and you're tired of cold calling, door knocking, and spending money on ads, then subscribe to this podcast. We discuss leveraging the power of YouTube for your real estate business and how these strategies earned us over $1 million in GCI our first year in real estate. My name is Levi Lascsak and my partner is Travis Plumb. Let's get started.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episide of TMI.
TMI, let's go.
There it is.
I'm excited. Why are you yelling at me?
Am I yelling? Dude, I thought I was
He always yells.
He yells.
He yells at
I haven't
everything.
even gotten to you.
Have you seen his reels?
I know.
Hey guys, it's Michael Valdez.
How did I lose control?
It's a lie.
I'm like 30 seconds in.
Oh, love it.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Valdez,
And Tony King.
and here we are with some really quiet guests, and it's incredible to have Levi and Travis here.
Yes.
What's going on, guys?
What's up?
What's up?
Thanks for
Am I
having
yelling
us.
it?
Yeah.
Both of them together
I'm
at the same
I do.
time,
I
right?
know.
Because they like to do this thing where like one of them will come but not the other. So
Yeah.
the other one's running the business while the one showing up on podcasts and stuff is like, no, I want both of
Well,
them
I go to dinner with
in
them.
the room
Yeah.
at the
Yeah,
same
it's
time.
fun.
Well, dinner, maybe,
Yeah,
but like
you know.
worse.
As long as you don't cancel the podcast, Tony.
Okay,
No.
all right. Fair enough. Fair
Wait, no, you canceled my last podcast, but you had a
See?
good reason.
See?
You had a really good
Oh, yeah,
reason
yeah,
for
yeah.
that. Yes. What was that
Are we
reason?
gonna make- oh,
what
I-
was that reason?
Had a kid.
Oh!
You're all
Congratulations.
That day. Well, first of all,
Literally
you
that day.
scheduled the podcast on a holiday. Like, finally, I thought I'm gonna have a day off.
There you go.
And then Michael's like, "Well, let's have a podcast on."
And you're like, sure.
And I was like, "No, I'm gonna have a baby instead."
Yeah, sure.
So I spent
So-
the whole
Why not do
holiday.
both, right?
You know,
Yeah.
exactly.
The
Dude,
whole
you could've done
holiday in the hospital.
both. Well, there you go. But
24 hours.
But at least you became a dad.
Yes.
So congratulations, first of all, on
Thank
that.
you. Appreciate it.
That's awesome. What's the baby's name?
I do want to be addressed by Daddy now.
You won't get me.
I thought-
You won't catch me on that.
I'm still older, so there it
No,
is. That's it.
it's Lucas.
Oh, I love that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Congrats, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I love the fact that these guys are here. You guys have been killing it, like really killing it. I mean, this is like when we call this TMI, but this is really where we need to break this down because what you guys have done probably never really been done in our industry, and it's been done to such a high level.
Yeah.
So 3 years ago, you guys never sold real estate?
Nope.
No.
3 years ago. 3 years ago. This is like insane.
It is.
And now it was, last year was how much in sales?
72 million.
72 million. So almost, I like to round up, almost $100 million.
That's what we'll call it. We'll
Right.
say
Well, in
Like
2022 we did 97.2.
That's, I call
And-
that
and-
100
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I was,
And that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So
But to do 72 million in a market where interest rates were over 7.5%
That's
the
right.
entire year.
Sure.
I think, and in our third year in the business too, where a lot of people saw major dips, a lot of agents got out of the business, and to still do 72 million, we made top 20 real trends.
I know you did.
Yeah, you saw
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
I hate it. That's awesome.
Making top teams, and then local, we saw a bunch of D magazines. We actually just got named in D magazine for top real estate team in Dallas.
Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great, man. Yes, you're awesome. Y'all, we want to.
I got more. HGTV.
I mean, over
yeah.
here for like a half an hour, man. So let's break it open. Tell us how.
That's why we scheduled on the lunch break, so
Is
we
that
could go.
right?
Yeah, we could go
That's right.
longer.
We're
yeah,
going to go
yeah.
longer, and we'll figure that out. Yes.
So we want to know first off how'd you do it, and then why'd you choose to do it here
Here in Dallas.
at EXP in Dallas?
Oh,
We'll start with Dallas.
Okay. Well, I mean, we live here, so it's easier to start real estate
Yeah.
where you live. EXP because actually we met through a mutual friend, Michael Reese. And
Heard of him.
heard of him, yeah.
A few people might have.
That's funny. I've known Michael Reese for 20 plus years. We actually sold gym memberships together at Bally Total Fitness, and
kidding.
he started me in my sales career. Yeah,
That was easy to
yeah.
sell, right? Because they were like $10 a.
No,
No.
no, they were like,
It was easy to sell. It was,
Yeah.
it was much harder to get out of it.
yeah,
what it was.
no, three-year contracts.
See?
Bally's did
telling
3-year
you.
contracts.
Wow.
They were not a gym. They were a sales organization. Trust me. Yeah, they just happened to have gym equipment laying
You
around.
can use.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
hardcore sales. We'd be on the phones. The shifts were 12 hours a day. And we had to be on the phones at least 10 hours of those days.
Wow.
Or 10 hours of the day. And so I learned
like a
phone
sweatshop.
Yeah. Sounds like a real estate agent.
Sounds like Wall Street.
So
That's right.
yeah.
I like it.
No, I mean, so yeah, I met Michael, and so whenever I had to make a transition, Travis, he can share as well. But I had a business, a financial services business, where I worked with teachers at schools. And when all the schools shut down in 2020, I found myself twiddling my thumbs going, okay, what's the next move? Are schools ever going to open up again? Like, what's ever going to happen? And so Michael's been trying to get me in real estate since 2002 when he got licensed. And that's the funny thing. So actually, technically, I did get licensed in 2004 because he talked me into it. But a week later, literally 1 week later, I got activated because I was still in the reserves for the military, and I got deployed for 18 months. Oh, wow. So I decided while I was deployed, I was like, I never really wanted to be a real estate agent anyways. Right. And so my license expired. Never thought about it again until 2020 when I had nowhere to go or nothing to do. And then Michael's like, dude, he's like, there's this new brokerage called EXP. You got to come in. It's super cool. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be an agent though. And the same thing with like Travis. Like you had a business go down, right?
Oh yeah. I lost everything about 6.5 years ago. Had a bad business partner who ended up embezzling some money from me. And
what sector were you in, Travis?
Marketing.
Yeah.
So before I got into real estate, I worked a lot on I would build people's Facebook ads. I would build out their funnels. I would build courses, and I worked for some of the top internet marketers and with some of the top internet marketers in the game. These guys are huge now. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I got my marketing background from, and had a business partner that was just kind of doing some bad things, and lost everything. And fast forward a couple years, man, I was over at Michael Reese's house, like Levi was talking about, and we were just kind of working on their CRM and working on some things together. I think at that time we were going to do this like really long race. It was like 62 miles or something like that. So we all started, kind of hanging out a little bit more. And then Levi walks into the room, and I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, hey, what's up? Like Levi, he ain't going to give you no love at the beginning
until I know you.
Exactly. At the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, I was already, this was like September of 2020. And so I already knew that I was making this transition into EXP, into working into the real estate space. And, we just saw each other and we didn't really connect. And then, when a couple of my buddies were in real estate, so I started running Facebook ads for them, right? And we kind of started door knocking together and cold calling together and calling all the Facebook leads together. And I was like, man, this is going to be really, really, really hard. So I'm like, man, like what else can I possibly do? And I'm like, man, what about YouTube? You know what I mean? So I start YouTubing, things in Dallas, like the top realtors in Dallas, and Levi pops up. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh shoot, I met this guy. You know what I mean? I was like, I should hit him up.
He didn't like me.
Yeah. He didn't like me. He didn't like me at all.
Damn.
Yeah, we didn't hit it off. It wasn't love at first sight. No.
Yeah.
And so, anyways, I hit him up.
Actually, I did kind of have a crush. I was like, man, the tattoos. I was like, this guy's too. He's too. I was like, actually, I was intimidated. I was like, the guy's too sexy for me. I don't know.
Yeah. So, anyways, I hit him up, and Levi had already been doing his thing. I mean, he's really just a creative master at what he does on YouTube, and I definitely want to kind of break into that for people who are watching today, because there's a very exact system and a process that we've used over the years. But when we first met, we just kind of started filming together, and Levi, it was so funny because like the first time like we went out to go film, it was in Mansfield, and he's like, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got this, man." And like, dude, I get on camera and I just froze. I couldn't get it right, man. I couldn't even get the hook or the intro or nothing. Like I just tried over and over. I just completely bombed.
I was like, "Give me that camera. Yeah. I'll do it."
Wow. So he took over.
I don't have a sleeve, but forget it. I'll do it.
So, but he's just always been a natural at that stuff, and after working together for a little while, we decided, hey, man, like, why don't you just keep doing all the content, man? You're great at that. And I wanted to sell 100 real estate transactions in my first year. I always had big goals and big dreams there, and I was like, I'll do all the sales, man. Don't even worry about it, dude. You just keep filming. I'll do all the sales, and we just kind of started slowly working together, and here we are, about 3.5 years later, just doing what we're doing.
One of our previous guests just sort of had that same goal, 100 transactions in a year. I'm like, who are you people?
It's incredible.
It is
incredible.
Like, no, it's like, I don't want to do that.
Everybody to come to chat with us about how they're crushing it at 100+ deals.
Yeah.
That kind of was the threshold.
Yeah.
Well, once you do it, then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Exactly.
All right. So wait. So you mentioned a little bit about YouTube. I really want to break that one down because you actually you were a natural at door knocking, right? That's what you really loved. I remember that.
I never door knocked.
That's
Well,
what I
actually,
mean.
I door
That's
knocked.
what I mean.
Actually, in high school, I sold Dish Network, and we did that door knocking.
In Texas?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I see like a theme here. Bally's Fitness.
Yep,
Right?
you're
It's all
salesman.
Yeah.
Dish Network,
Yep.
door to door.
Yep.
Right? So
He likes
how long
to
did
do
that
things
last?
the
So
hard
I've
way.
done that.
The hard way.
That worked for like 4 or 5 months.
All right.
Until I was like, this sucks.
Well, it sucked on day one. And
I will
then
never do it.
Well,
again.
if I sold one though, it was like a $300 commission, dude. And like when you're in high school, that's
Oh,
I would go out after school. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I was like rich because if I could sell 1 or 2 a week, I was rolling. I was like, cool. But
J's or something.
yeah, but well, I wasn't that cool at that time. But
You got a lot now.
yeah, I got a lot of J's now.
Yeah.
So.
There you go.
I love it.
All right. So now, when did you realize YouTube? You did a lot of studies.
Well, over 2020, I just did research instead of watching Tiger King.
Allow me to take a quick break to remind you that we have very important links in the description below. If you want the full story of how we closed over 1 million in commissions our first year and over 2.3 million in commissions our second year, check out the first link. Also, you have the link to our #1 Amazon best-selling book, Passive Prospecting. Last, if you enjoy this podcast and you're a giving person, leave a 5-star review, please. Now back to the episode.
Right. So I think when a lot of people saw that,
might have
maybe
watched an episode or
yeah, it's funny. No, actually, I didn't. But the
Yeah, he's like mentioning me every time he talks about it. I'm like, I watched
did you watch it?
I watched it all.
Yeah.
Shade. That's like throwing shade.
Well, see, there was two people during the pandemic. The ones that grew and got bigger, and then the ones that kind of just hung out. And I just
watched Tiger King.
yeah. The thing was I got it. So I knew I had my back up against the wall though.
Yeah.
because my whole business just shut down.
You know what was
Yeah,
next.
exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know with
You had to
school.
figure it out.
Plus, there was so much uncertainty, right? I didn't know would schools ever open again. What's the world going to be? Like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to get a job because there was just 30 million layoffs in the United States. And then, what business do you start in the middle of a pandemic? But like I said, Michael Reese is in my ear, like, hey man, and he always thought, he knows me, he knows my work ethic, he knows my sales ability, so he always saw me as a great real estate agent. But I never saw that for myself because I see how hard real estate agents work in the beginning and sometimes throughout their whole career, always trying to maintain the calls, always prospecting, and that was something that I didn't want to do. So I just thought, you know what? Let me think about this differently. And what really keyed it in was he was talking to me about this attraction model through EXP. And so that word attraction really kind of sunk in, and I was thinking, okay, attraction, I like that. Is there a way you could actually attract real estate business? Instead of me going out chasing after everybody, handing out my card at Starbucks, being that type of person, because I've been in sales for 20 plus years and that's all I ever did was actively pursued, went after
Same.
people,
Same.
And so that attraction word was just really sitting in my head. And so I just stopped instead of watching Tiger King and started to contemplate on this. I was like, okay, attraction, okay. How can I attract business? And I had never been a social media person, except for friends and family that I had followers, and 300 people on Instagram. And that was it. I never posted. I hadn't posted on Instagram since 2011 when I opened the account. I posted like one photo and then nothing for 9 years. So I just started researching and thinking.
So there's hope for everybody.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's true. And so I figured it was going to be through social media, but which platform? I didn't want to make the mistake of, everyone tells you, especially when you get into real estate, hey, you got to be on everywhere, right? You need to be on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. And so what people do is they put 20% effort across 5 different platforms and they never truly master one platform.
All right, stop there because that's really important. Because a lot of people talk about this, right? Everyone wants to have their own personal brand. Everyone thinks that personal branding is what's going to bring them and differentiate them in the marketplace here in this industry. And for a lot of reasons, that's true.
Yeah.
Right?
it is.
And so, but the idea of what you just said, nobody knows what to pick. So they pick everything.
Yeah.
And then it's sort of like, then you're like master of none.
Yeah.
And so that's a really interesting thing. Like, I only do Instagram, right? It's sort of like, and I should have done yours, but it's sort of like I'm just too far down that rabbit hole now. Yeah. But it's always like picking one. But now you picked one, which was YouTube, but for a very particular reason.
Yeah, search-based, because I didn't have a personal brand. I didn't see myself dancing on TikTok or doing pointy videos or something like that.
I've seen you dance.
Yeah.
For real.
Only when I drink. No.
Listen, you made the right choice.
Now Tony can dance.
No,
right.
no, not on TikTok. That's not my thing.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, I bought a bunch of books, and I was reading through a book, and this one book called YouTube Secrets, actually, Benji talked about how he had a struggling real estate business, only sold 10 homes a year, and then he started a YouTube channel actually in 2009.
Wow.
And he did 100 homes the next year. Now, and it was one paragraph out of that whole book. And you know, sometimes people always ask, like, why are you reading that book, or why are you going to conferences? You know, and it's just like, well, if I can find one nugget, and that was the nugget.
You found it.
Yeah, that was the nugget that made me think, oh, YouTube, okay. And then I realized, okay, it's a search engine. So people are actually looking for this information. Nobody's looking for me. I had no personal brand, right? So how am I going to market that way? But they are searching Dallas suburbs, Dallas areas. So if there's already an audience there, I just got to put myself in front of that audience with that right content.
Love it, love it. So instead of you going hunting, looking for, you find the people that are already looking, and then just find a way to give them what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? That's incredible.
All right, so let's continue this sort of story, because I love how you're breaking this down. And you figured out, okay, YouTube is a search engine. I'm going to jump into YouTube. I don't have a personal brand, but Dallas is a brand.
Yep.
And so take us through that journey. What did you do? What was your YouTube channel?
Well, it was named a search term, which was living in Dallas, Texas, because you find that people are kind of searching that. What I started to realize is that people were capturing people in the research phase before they've ever decided to hire an agent or even a mortgage officer, right? So most people don't say, hey, honey, it's time to buy a house. Let's go find the best real estate agent in Dallas. You know, they start thinking about, hey, what community do we want to be in? What school district? Yeah, where do we want to be? What's my commute going to be? And then, of course, at that time, relocation was heavy because everyone's trying to get out of California,
That's
New
right.
York, right?
They still
And
are.
and they still are.
Taxes.
Yeah, so it was, I started to figure out search volume on things, and I realized I started looking on Google and YouTube, and I started to find that a lot of this stuff had 10 times the search volume on YouTube versus Google.
Wow.
And so most people think of Google as default, but really now as people want to learn, video is become number one as far as just video in general is what people are consuming. And they say now too, like even before people buy products, whatever they may be, they're going to online to try to find a video about it.
100%. Yeah.
You'll notice it on Amazon now, right? Amazon almost has
They put
videos on.
videos,
Yeah,
yeah.
they put videos. Yeah.
And I watch them, right? Like I don't even read. I just watch them.
Yeah.
Let me really see if this thing works, because now there's so many even fake reviews, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no, I love that mindset of sort of just give the people what they're looking for.
Yeah.
When you all decided on, okay, Dallas is where we're going to do this thing. People are searching in Dallas. Living in Dallas, right? We know that's where they're searching. And you, how much do you know about algorithms? Do you have to know everything? Like if you're talking to a new agent, do they got to know everything before they get started, or is it?
Well, they just come to
Trial
us.
and
They
error?
come
Well,
to us.
now they do.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
tell them everything. Yeah, I mean, no, it was all a learning curve. I also like to say you can hyper-learn any subject in 60 days because of the amount of information that's out there right now. And that's always my advice to other people too, is like some people are like, I'll never make a video. Okay, well, how many agents have actually studied FSBO marketing or open house marketing? Most of the time when they do that, they just watch somebody else do it, or maybe somebody told them how to do it and then they start. But if you actually went on Amazon and you bought 10 books on FSBO marketing, and I promise if you type in FSBO marketing on Amazon, 100 books are going to pop up.
Oh, dude, yeah, for sure.
Buy 5 or 10 of them. If you put that on YouTube, 1,000 videos are going to come up. If you actually studied that over 60 days, I believe you could become the top 1% FSBO marketer in your market. If you wanted to do that with open houses, same thing. So I just decided whenever I was like, okay, YouTube's going to be the platform, because going back to choosing one, I said, okay, I realized, okay, YouTube is going to be the platform.
Because it's a search engine.
I'm going to study it instead of watch Tiger King. I'm
Right.
going to watch YouTube videos. I'm going to read. I bought like 8 YouTube marketing books. I just lived and breathed YouTube for 60 days to build out a business plan. And that's another thing with social media. I don't think people build out business plans when they get started on social media.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Business plan in life, really.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Travis, now you start living in Dallas, right? How many homes did you sell this first year?
The first year, I think we did, $37 million worth of sales in our very first year?
64 transactions.
Yeah.
Well,
64
and because it
transactions.
took you 9 months to get going, right? To get traction. So can you kind of
Well, about 7 months. Yeah, about 7 months.
Okay.
I mean, if you add in the research, filming, we filmed the whole month first, then publishing, then. So I always say film a month first before publish, because most people film one video, get excited, publish that video, and then everything.
Don't have life after
Yep.
that.
They don't know what to do on the next video.
Yeah.
Life happens, health happens, real estate happens, family happens, and
That's right.
then a week goes by, and then excuses start to set in,
Yep.
and then they don't publish that next video. Inconsistency will kill momentum quicker than anything.
The algorithm is designed to punish that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
designed to punish
Yeah.
popping one and then taking 3 or 4 weeks off.
Yeah.
Popping one more, 2 more, and then it's designed to sort of and reward people that are consistent, right? So consistency is the key
Yeah.
with any sort of social media platform.
Yeah, definitely. And like so in 2021, 64 transactions. I think we did like 37 million in our very first. It was 37 million.
33 and a half.
Okay, 33 and a half. Yeah.
But who's counting? I don't
Yeah,
know.
whatever. He's the one who's always presenting. I'm just selling the real estate.
Yeah, you're the one selling it.
Yeah, I'm selling it.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, man, because like things started to pick up around like February. We started getting some good leads in, and then March, he was going to go out of town for a month. And long story short, he didn't go out of town, but he'd Airbnb'd his house. And I was like, hey, bro, just come stay with me. It's all good. So we really started to work really closely together. Started getting some leads. And then I think April we closed 1 transaction, and then May it was like 2, and then June it was like 4 or 5, and then by like August, September, I was doing 10, 12, 13 transactions in a single month, and it was just getting so crazy because like everyone was watching our channel. Everyone was like relocating into the market, and I'm brand new, so like running around, and like this wasn't a time like right now.
Loving this
like
story.
right now, it's so easy to negotiate deals. It's easier than I've ever experienced because like my very first year, the learning curve was really quick. I always believe in like scaling and hiring people. So the reason I was able to do that is because I knew that I needed to invest in myself, and the way that I did that was I brought on a transaction coordinator, right? And I learned through Jay Kinder actually that you don't even have to pay for your transaction coordinator. You can actually have the buyer or the seller do that. So I started negotiating that with all my buyers that year. So I had a transaction coordinator, man. So all I did was I was just out there running and gunning and showing houses and negotiating deals. And this was when it was hard. I was going up against 30 offers, 50 offers. Deals were going 150,000, 300,000 over, and I'm a brand new agent, and I'm just like out here figuring it out. And I would have never been able to scale, and I would have never been able to do that if I was trying to do everything by myself. And I think that's where a lot of people, they just don't understand. Like, you don't have to do everything yourself. Actually, you should hire people before you need them, right? And you should hire people that are experts in their industry. You know what I'm saying? So we brought the transaction coordinator on pretty much from like, I did the first deal, and like EXP was like hitting me up about all this paperwork after the fact, and I'm like, what paperwork? I thought I was done.
I was done.
It probably was.
You were the broker at the
I was
time.
like,
Put
what?
deals in here that are so wrong. Everyone is wrong.
Hey, you got to close out SkySlope. Like, what is SkySlope?
I had no idea. I was like, oh snap, I got to do all this other stuff too. I was like, no, I can't do this, So yeah, we did that. We made $1 million, a little 1,007,000 and some change. See, I know that number.
That's
Yeah,
we made
see,
$1 million,
that
bucks,
never goes.
And
Yeah.
that's in commission.
Funny,
In
yeah,
commission,
in
yeah.
commit. So funny story about that because I love this story because really when this channel started, my goal, because I just lost everything, was can I make 100,000,
Yeah.
maybe 200,000 in commissions the first year? Because that's also pretty much unheard of in an agent's first year of their
Very
career.
true.
So I was thinking 100, maybe 200K stretch. Well, we started running and gunning. Within 8 months, we had done 700,000 in commissions.
Wow.
So, and then when December hits, and pretty much by the 15th of the month, what you're going to close the next month.
Yeah.
Well, by the 15th of the month, we were going to close out at 985,000 in commissions,
Wow.
and I was just like, man, I really wanted to hit that
Yeah.
1
Oh,
million mark.
million.
I was like, it's just not going to happen,
Daddy's
right?
got you.
And literally on December 16th, we get a call. And or I don't know if you'd worked with him for a week or so, but the guy says, I found my house. I'm going to pay cash. I want a 10-day close.
Wow.
And it was
Whoa,
like
there it is.
like 17,000 in commission, just enough to push us over.
Yeah.
And actually closed, I think, a few days after Christmas, in between Christmas and
That's
New
insane.
Year's.
I
And
love
like he
this.
wanted to close before January 1st. So, and we hadn't done really hardly any cash deals.
No,
And this
I
one
don't
just
think
came
so.
in at the right moment to just
Not
push
that
us
time.
over that $1 million mark.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, and that is incredible story, incredible first year. What I hear, because I have this unique ability to hear people in the audience that are watching, and what I'm hearing is, man, that it sounds lucky.
Do you see
right?
dead people, Joe?
Sometimes. So, but it sounds like luck, especially towards the end of that year, right? But when I had you on my podcast before, you were talking about sort of that time period, and I'd love for you to sort of expound on how many times did you think about quitting, right? But before things started to take off and pick up, because I feel like that's where a lot of folks get caught up. And can you elaborate on that at all?
Real quick.
Was it easy? You just popped up a video and then, yay, we're swimming in money, right?
Well, here's the thing, man. Is like, you know, it's funny because like people say, oh, you get lucky. I hear that all the time, but it's really funny because the harder I work, the luckier I get.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
It.
And that's really true because when me and Levi were doing this stuff, we were up at midnight, 2 a.m. sometimes on Zooms with each other, working our butts off. We still work our asses off, excuse my language. We still work our butts off, you know what I'm saying? Even to this day, every single day this week, we've been working till 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So we just, you know, and there are times when we work really hard and there are times when we take for our family. I'm very present with my family. I spend lots of time. We do lots of really great things, but there's a season for that kind of stuff, you know, and we worked very, very, very hard at the very beginning and still to this day, even though I would say consider ourselves doing pretty well for ourselves, we're still working, you know, very, very hard, very, very smart. But like, that's why it's really important, I think, for real estate agents to be on YouTube, is because it's the only thing, like once you put in all this legwork, it just kind of works for you 24/7, 365. You know, like we went to Cabo for a week. We took our whole team out there. You know what I mean? We're going to go to Barcelona for 2 weeks. He was in Vegas for 3 weeks. And guess what? Our channel is still producing deals. We're still closing millions of dollars a month in transactions, and YouTube will work for you. So you gotta work really hard, but you also got to be really, really smart with your time. And when I look at like the stats on NAR, it's like, okay, like door knocking, you're gonna get 1% of those. You know what I'm saying? Mailers, you're gonna get 1%, maybe 2% if you're mailing to 55 to 65. You're like, okay, so like why would I spend 100% on my time to get something that's converting at 1%? Our YouTube leads convert at like 13 to 15%. That's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. And so it's like, okay, be smart and work on things that are going to be the most effective in your business. I'm not saying all those strategies don't work, by no means. I know that they do. It's just like there is just a better, smarter, funner way than doing all the door knocking and the cold calling. And so we just have a really hard work ethic.
You've cultivated this whole thing. It's sort of like, it sounds like a lot of passive prospecting. You should probably write a book on this. And so tell us about that. Tell us about the book that you've written. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
How's the book doing? I heard it's doing amazing.
It's funny because it's still a top 10 seller in social media for business on Amazon, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, we still get consistent. It hit number 1 in 3 different categories on Amazon, and also I know we're in the top 5% for nonfiction books.
Awesome.
And so they said 95% of books, nonfiction, don't even sell 1,000 copies. Yeah. And we were able to hit that, I think, the first month.
Wow.
So yeah, and the book is...
Who is it for?
Well, it was written really for entrepreneurs because, I actually was going to call the book YouTube for Real Estate. But doing all the traveling, I was in an airport bookstore one day, and I just thought, YouTube for Real Estate will never be on an airport bookshelf, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where, and then all of a sudden, passive prospecting, I forget where it just hit me one day on that. And so the book was written also in general for entrepreneurs, ideally, because what I thought about,
not just the real estate sector,
right? Well, I was thinking about Ryan Serhant wrote "Sell It like Serhant." Grant Cardone wrote "Sell or Be Sold," or and you look at these books, 10x. Yeah. And what I realized is like they're writing those books for entrepreneurs.
Sure.
They're just using real estate as the examples of how they accomplish those goals. And so that's how the book was written, was really to like an electrician, a plumber, a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a financial advisor could pick up that book and they should be able to apply it to their business for YouTube. So that's what it's about.
So it sounds like, and this is a theme because we talk with a lot of successful agents, you didn't invent anything. Right, you didn't reinvent the wheel, start from scratch. You looked on YouTube and saw the top channels, and you're like, hey, I could do that, right? And then you saw these books that were being written. You're like, hey, I could do that, right?
Yeah.
And then so is that a part of the magic formula of finding success and then duplicating and implementing into your own business? Or like, hey, I read this book and this paragraph was in there, and I took that.
Well, that was, so that was YouTube Secrets, and clearly Benji had started a real estate channel in 2009.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, he's like the OG of real estate on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then the next book was Karen Carr, which her book I think is called YouTube for Real Estate or Real Estate Agents. And so she talked about some of these concepts, but it's a really thin book, and so it was really just kind of like an overview. But that's where I saw the line, like, YouTube's a search engine, not a social media platform, and that was the one line out of that I was like, oh, okay, I got it now. And then I actually saw one person in another state that it was an agent, and they made this pros and cons video, and it had like 50,000 views, and I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then you start going down all these different rabbit holes, and then I just started finding different videos, different topics that had the most views in different cities around town. And I don't even know, and if you look at those channels, even the agents, it doesn't look like they were focused on that. It just looks like they made a video here or there, one of them popped off, and because most agents' videos don't get a lot of views, period.
True.
And so, but I was able to see patterns with certain ones, and that's what really kind of just, spurred all of that to say, okay.
And that seems like one of the things that hold agents back is when they say, I just don't know what to say. I don't know what to put on the video. So what would you say to them? Would you say, hey, do the search and then duplicate what the top people are doing, or is there a different strategy that you teach?
I mean, I think, we kind of coached to certain methods. I think for me, what really worked was I didn't know how to be a good real estate agent because I weren't.
You weren't.
And I didn't want to be like, get the Lambo, get the Lambo, and all of a sudden I'm I was like, but I've lived in Dallas for 20 years, so I know Dallas. Like, I've lived in 10 different neighborhoods. I've got friends that live in all the other different neighborhoods. I've got family that's lived over here and there, and so I've been through this whole city in the last 20 years. And so I thought, oh, well, that's what I'm going to make my content on what I know. My experiences, my viewpoint, and then I can look up some stats and data about the house. But if you look at any type of audience, they say, especially if you're presenting, just so you know, that, and I'm sure you do, that...
We're about to find out.
Yeah. Well, they say about 70% of the audience is story-driven and 30% is analytically driven or data-driven. Sure. So if you focus all on data, you could lose 70% of your audience. If you focus all on story, you could lose 30% of your audience. So I always look for this combo of story, experience, viewpoint, and then a little data sprinkled in there, and it kind of covers the whole audience. And so it's just something to think about, and that's what I thought, okay, I could look up median home price, and I don't have to pretend to be some great real estate agent to look up some basic stats, right? But population, school districts, ratings, those types of things. And then what's really cool is I like this over here, that over here. What my friends told me is they love this over here, and so then I just talked about the communities.
All right, so I have a really important question.
Okay.
So I want to know what the hell that tortoise head is on
It's
your
very
shirt.
distracting.
Was this one of the
It's a
3 a.m. meetings?
It's a turtle head.
Is this one of the 3 a.m. meetings? This is going to be a great logo for our company. So,
Multicolored.
how the hell did that come about?
We talked about it a lot,
Really?
Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it a lot, man. Just finding.
Kept talking about it.
We talk about turtle heads all the time. It's like
all the time. I wasn't gonna go. We're going there now.
I can only imagine those 3 a.m. conversations.
All right.
Well, going back to what you said about nothing new under the sun, right?
That's new. Yeah.
Well, but still, I don't know. We know some other brands out there, and a lot of brands are represented by mascots or animals or something like that. And so we're on Zoom calls, and I'm just like, man, what kind of animal represents passive prospecting? It's like, what do you even? How does that even work, right? Like, so, so we were trying to think of what's a good animal. People have these badass lions and elephants and
badgers,
honey badgers, right? Yeah, I'm like,
do a cool ass tortoise. So it's the tortoise.
Multicolored.
Well, that's like, how do we represent the brand? And what do we always teach? We teach patience is a virtue.
Yes.
Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. The tortoise always beats the hare.
There you go.
YouTube's a marathon, not a sprint. So when you think about all that, it was like,
He embodies it.
it was like,
like it.
a turtle. That's
I like
the mascot.
it.
But the Ninja Turtles are already, which he loves Ninja Turtles. He loves.
That was my thing too,
Yeah.
man. Millennials.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go. 100%.
So we're like, well, the Ninja Turtles are taken, but those are cool turtles. So how do we have a cool turtle? And then we've got a good friend, Ryan Pineda, who's a big influencer in real estate.
Sure is.
And he has a Judah the lion was his mascot, and that's really what kind of inspired it too, because it just looks cool. It looks like an NFT, or so I asked Ryan, I was like,
"Who?" Ryan sometimes also has purple hair. Like it's an homage in a sense.
So that was it. I said, "Hey, who's your design company?" Well, he got me in touch with his design company, and they actually design things for Marvel and what's the other DC. So they design like comics for movies and things like that. So I just told them, I was like, we need a really cool turtle, and it needs to represent YouTube somehow, So that's why we got the play buttons and the sunglasses. So he's got play buttons and the sunglasses, and then also all the multicolor in there.
See, I was trying to explain this to you, Tony.
Thank you. Now I get it.
Exactly.
I was trying to explain
He was trying to say that the whole time.
Exactly, right.
Some kind of an anthropomorphic,
it was so obvious.
Multicolored turtle. Now I get it. Thank you.
Well, they came back with like 5 different turtles.
It was hilarious at the beginning.
Yeah, and you're like,
right, because I can remember when you asked them for a multicolored anthropomorphic turtle, and they were like, here we got a few options for that. Like we do that all the time.
All right, we're just wrapping up now. One piece of advice that you would give somebody that's just starting in our business and sees the success you guys have done. Yep. Obviously, you've done it in a very specific way, and it might be the same way they want to do it, might be something else, but just one piece of advice now from what you've learned in the 3 years that you've done this now.
From each of you.
Each of you.
You got both of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough. My number one piece of advice would be to try to surround yourself with people who are like-minded and who are like, if you can't afford a coach or a mentor, like we hire mentors that are very expensive now, and we couldn't do that at the very beginning. But if you want to do YouTube and you think that's like the best thing that you can do, you need to go surround yourself with the people who are doing YouTube. If you want to do cold calling, go surround yourself with the best cold caller out there. Go surround yourself with a team that is known for cold calling, so you can get some free training and some free advice. I think that you have to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are going to get to the goal the same way that you want to get to the goal, and you're going to get there a lot faster. The reason why we've been able to grow to where we've been able to grow is because we're constantly reinvesting into ourselves. Eventually, that was a lot. At the beginning, that was a lot of time. We would try to surround ourselves with people when we didn't have any money necessarily at the very beginning, and then over time, when we started making more money, we didn't just keep that money to ourselves. We reinvested that money back into ourselves. We still do that. We've spent over $600,000 in 3 years on coaches and mentors, and that's why we're going to make multiple 7 figures. And so I think that my best piece of advice is just surround yourself with like-minded people, and you're going to get there. You're going to get there a lot faster.
So luck is not part of the equation. It's investment and action, right, and accountability.
100%.
Find your Sherpa.
That's it. You got to
100%.
find one.
Yep.
Go on, Levi.
Yeah, I'd say follow the path of least resistance, which is determine who you are as a person, first of all. Are you a phone call person? Are you a reader and a writer? Are you a video person, or are you a people person?
Yep.
So if you can determine one of those things, and I'll just pick people person. Let's say, because sometimes somebody, no matter what, will not get on video. Same thing with somebody who gets on video may not want to meet people in person or actually phone. Some people would rather make 100 phone calls a day than ever host an open house. Yep. But then somebody tells them, hey, you need to do open houses. They start doing that, and then they hate their life and their business.
Yeah.
So figure out, are you people person, reader, writer, video, or phone call? And then let's say phone call. Well, okay. Again, like I mentioned earlier, go on Amazon and decide how do you want to market through phone calls. Do you want to call FSBOs, expireds, or just straight cold call list, or do you want to look up, okay, let's say FSBOs. Put FSBOs in there, buy 5 to 10 marketing books on FSBOs, watch a bunch of YouTube videos, and then to become the best at one thing in the path of least resistance, which means how are you most comfortable, getting out there and working with people. So, if you're not a people person, then you're going to hate open houses, right?
That's true.
And video's not for everybody. I know we preach video. I think it's the best return of your time and your investment of your time.
If you have that personality.
If that's your thing.
If you can do it, yeah.
Exactly.
So, and once you pick that thing, it's that immersion, right? And by the way, once you immerse yourself in whatever that field that you want to go down, you'll learn pretty quick. Like, hey, this ain't for me,
100%.
right? I should maybe try something else. Immerse myself in that, give it a shot, and then see what fits.
I love that.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, how do people find you? Really quickly.
Well, I think the best place if you want to connect with us is, or me personally, is going to be on Instagram. Just my first and last name, Travis Plumb.
Yeah, check us out at passiveprospecting.com.
All righty. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining
Thanks, man.
us.
Appreciate it, guys.
I'm glad I stopped yelling at you. This was awesome.
Huh?
What?
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Speak up, Michael. Speak up.
Hold on, let me use my good ear now.
All right, there we go. Thank you all for watching. This has been great. Another episode in the books, Tony. Bam.
TMI. We'll see y'all next time.
All righty.
Thank you for joining us on today's podcast. If you're interested in partnering with us to access our YouTube course and coaching at no cost, schedule a call at passiveprospectingpartner.com.